Welcome back to Pokemon Colosseum. Last time we snagged ourselves our very first Shadow Pokemon. This time, I hope you like snagging because we're going to be doing a lot more of it. This episode is going to be mega snagging central. You'll see why once we start getting into the next area. But this is where basically the amount of Pokemon that you have access to just suddenly explodes. You want to make sure that you've got a lot of Pokeballs before you go on. But, this location wasn't here before, and it's our only place we can go, so we might as well go there. And yeah, as you can see, Misty Jr. is riding the sidecar, so sadly, no more Espeon and Umbreon sidecar. A very sad thing indeed, because that was actually pretty awesome. So, let's talk to these people and find out what's going on here. They don't want us to be here. And in a place like this, I'm very suspicious of that immediately. Sounds like these people are slaves or something. But they're almost done here, I guess, with whatever this is. Okay, there'll be a Colosseum here. I guess that's something for us to look forward to. We can't enter here, though. There's a 1 on that dome. I wonder what this place is. I wonder if it is hinting at anything that will be happening later in the game. But now, here's our real destination. A rough and dirty town full of thugs and scoundrels, Pyrite Town. Doesn't this place sound nice? So, this music is amazing, by the way. I love this song so much. It's probably one of my favorite nostalgic Pokemon songs. But yeah, Pyrite Town. Voted the worst place to live in the Pokemon universe 14 years running. And already we have a policeman interrogating someone. That's not a good sign. Today? That implies this guy's done bad stuff in the past. Again, not a good sign. He does look pretty cool, though. Oh, obviously, this guy is still hiding something. There's a dodgy fortune-telling place there. You could say that. I don't like this place already. Guessing even this old man is gonna mug me. Oh, well, at least he's trying to warn us. What does this fortune-telling place do? Oh, there's some guy here. Please don't use that information to do anything creepy. Okay, I just realized if you try and find luck for me, it wouldn't exist. And she has nothing for us, so let's just leave this place. She probably just wants to con us out of her money anyway. I mean, this is Pyrite Town after all. Okay, I don't know what I did there. I must have been messed up with the controls. Sometimes when you go exit a building, you don't know which direction on the control stick to press to go forward. Pfft. Well, the police are complete idiots who run into people in slapstick ways. Again, that's not a good sign. And they mistake other people for the chief. Yeah. Then again, I mean, this town is the way it is. The police must be pretty terrible. So, apparently some strange Pokemon have been sighted in the area. I'm sorry, but we're a Pokemon protagonist. We're the new law here. I guess we're travelers. Also, you might recognize some of the people in those wanted posters behind him. One in particular. One who is very angry to see the main character go. So yeah, Pyrite Town. Lawless chaos. Criminal case files that they probably have way too many of. At least there's a PC here for a save point. At least some people are in jail. That's something, I suppose. And if you try and examine the doors here, it automatically brings up the key item menu. Huh, I wonder if we'll be opening a jail cell someday. Oh, hey, those two actually got arrested. That's nice to know, at least. Or they're just hiding here. Oh, of course, you got arrested just for stealing the truck, not for kidnapping, because obviously they wouldn't be able to prove that. Yeah, see? The justice system in the Oreo region, people. This is not a good sign. This is not a good sign. I'm gonna go ahead and save here, because there are some snags coming up, and I don't want to lose them. Though, these snags are very easy to repeat. The people in Pyrite Town, they like to battle, and a lot of them can be rematched immediately after you battle them the first time. You just need to leave the town and come back and talk to them again. No, we're not. Thankfully for you. What's this building? Probably can't be anything good considering this town. Well, that's interesting. So I guess King is still here, but he is not really doing much. Let's see if we have any more news updates. And, nope, it's the same as before. So, you're still very behind. Obviously, this is no longer breaking news. Or maybe the signal is a bit delayed here in Pyrite Town. I wouldn't be surprised. I still love this song so much. It's just, like, the clicking really makes this track. So, what's in here? Ah, there's a big guy there, and a small child here. You've clearly been taking lessons from that rocket grunt in the original Red and Blue. Okay, so this is King. He owns the Colosseum here, but apparently he used to be keeping the law in this town, and now he's not anymore. Yeah, let's do exactly what that guy said we couldn't do. Yeah, ignore the fact that there's a giant gaping hole in the wall, and you just let us pass. You're not a very good guard. Okay. Your guard is terrible. Get a better guard, please. Well, I guess this is nothing sinister, just a secret club for kids. Okay, so she must be King's daughter. Some of them mention snagging, though. Wonder if these kids are some of the few sane people in this town. Again, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I mean, the guard is insane. But once we leave... yeah, something's wrong here. And that guy's doing an Ace Attorney desk slam. King doesn't seem to be acting like himself. Well, I'd be angry too if my friend was being blackmailed by a criminal gang, as is what's implied to be happening with King here. So, let's see what else we can check out here. This shop looks promising. Yes, Parallel's Heal. Again, you don't have any Pokemon like that other person in that mart. In this town? No way. Definitely not. I'd be afraid those potions were laced with something. No, I have sanity. Thank you very much. So let's see what they're selling here. For some reason, they actually have better stock than the other marts. They're selling Hyper Potions and Revives. It's nice to have a few Revives, though they are very expensive. I don't know if I buy any of them here or not. Hyper Potions, they're very much overkill at this point in the game. They restore 200 HP in this generation, which is pretty much more than you'll ever need for 90% of the adventure. So I'd save buying those until much later in the game. So, here we've got Makahita, we've got Croconor. I might as well try fighting with one of them for a little bit. I suppose I'll have Espeon here. Now I have a physical powerhouse and a special powerhouse at once. And Makahita kind of serves the bulky role in Umbreon's place. Hey there, what you doing? Yeah, we're a trainer. Well, the trainers here are all, at least this one also gave us an option, though, but yeah, they're all just gonna be, like normal trainers in the Pokemon universe. You looked at me funny. Let's battle! Sentret and Tailo. Not exactly the most intimidating Pokemon for a street thug to be using. Although, admittedly, Tailo does load Boom Burst. Okay, so Makuhita will be crossing the first part of its heart gauge at this point. Let's see if that has any effects. Also, let's see who's getting destroyed by Confusion this turn. By passing the first segment of the heart gauge, Makuhita has unlocked its first move, Focus Energy. And Focus Energy can be kind of nice here. It's definitely not as good as it is in later generations when they buff the critical hit ratio. But it can be okay in combination with a certain thing in this game that you probably know what it is. Slakoth, again, not exactly the most intimidating Pokemon for a Street Thug to be using. Defense curl's kind of funny. I turned this square into a circle, now my defense is increased. But it won't save you from Espeon's Confusion. So let's go ahead and use Shadow Rush, thanks to our new buff critical hit ratio due to Focus Energy. Uh-oh, Hyper Mode. But that's actually a good thing. I just used Focus Energy, so now I have a practically guaranteed chance of criticals with Shadow Rush. That did a bit more damage than I would have expected, too. Makuhita's getting damage animation is kind of funny, though. He just gets knocked all the way back and then just, psychs himself back up again. Now, let's see Overkill. True Overkill in action. Focus Energy, plus Hyper Mode, plus Helping Hand, plus High Critical Hit Ratio Shadow Rush, equals complete and total devastation. Goodbye, Slakoth. But I just took a little bit of recoil damage. So when you're using Shadow Pokemon, you're going to need to heal quite a lot. Especially when they only have access to Shadow Rush. This guy wasn't too interesting. There are later opponents in this town that we'll be more concerned with. Not really. Well, for one, we actually have good Pokemon. Alright, so Makuhita is now in Hyper Mode. And you can even see it on the status screen, which is kind of cool. So like I said before, while a Pokemon is in Hyper Mode, you can't use items on them in the field, so you'll want to get them out of that as soon as possible. Well, there is one exception to this. There's a kind of item that can cure Hyper Mode, I believe, but we don't get the access to that for a while. But anyway, we have a hotel here. They're talking more about the tower. The Pyrite Super Grand Hotel. Oh, I don't want to stay here. It probably has, I was going to say Crickettunes everywhere, but that Pokemon didn't exist at this point. It's probably full of whatever the vermin is in this region. Don't know if they have Rattatas or not. We'd already heard about that. I mean, there's a lot of things special about him for all the wrong reasons. No one's using this room. Someone seems to be sleeping here. Dreaming about Pokemon battles. Something that I like about the hotel, though, is this is a nice callback to the original days of the very planning of the original Pokemon games. Because originally, Pokemon centers were not planned to be the healing spots. They were planned to be hotels. Anyway, it was in the squares where Misty Jr. saw the strange Pokemon. So, obviously, that's foreshadowing that something's about to happen here. Oh, okay, at first I thought you were going to get jealous there, but no, you're just upset about calling her a wallflower. More shipping, basically. Oh, and this train didn't even give us a choice. So, our possible future girlfriend says so, let's beat this character down. She has a Gulpin and a Zubat. Prime targets for Espeon here. As you can see, Makuhita's heart gauge is gradually filling up. I might need to call him soon, though. Unfortunately, this girl doesn't have anything good for us. Makuhita purifies pretty quickly, just like all of the early game Shadow Pokemon. Different Shadow Pokemon have different amounts of heart gauge, so the ones you get earlier will be faster to purify. Though at this point, being faster to purify isn't exactly an advantage, for reasons that I'll talk about later. That hurt quite a lot. And poisoned. Unfortunately, as you saw in an earlier episode, my Makuhita has thick fat and not guts, so this poison is not going to benefit me. That's a shame. Both of Makuhita's abilities are pretty decent, though. But we have avenged our possible future girlfriend's honor. Unfortunately, we didn't get any Shadow Pokemon into the bargain. You might also notice something. Makuhita is not getting any experience. I love just the random trainer defeat lines in most Pokemon games. A lot of them are pretty hilarious. My personal favorite is one from Sun and Moon, the Team Skull Grunt, who says, and I think he's already won a certain girl's heart already. The Team Skull Grunt who says, I want to go back in time and tell myself to not battle you. But anyway, I just showed off what the poison graphic looks like in this game. Let's see if I think I was too lazy to go back to Phoenix City's Pokemon Center. I'd recommend doing that and not using the hotel here because that's free. But I'm just going to be lazy and use some healing items here. I wanted to quickly get to the other battles in this place. I mean, we're already 15 minutes into the video and we haven't seen a single Shadow Pokemon. Let's change that. Let's battle this guy. Yep, let's fight. Ryder Vant. Let's see what you got. Misdreavus and Skitty. Well, one of them is a Pokemon you don't see every day in the 3rd generation. I think we know what that means. The second is a Pokemon that is one of the worst in existence. So let's just get rid of it quickly so that Stain will not torment us any longer. Yep, we have a Shadow Pokemon, and thankfully it's not the Skitty. It's the Misdreavus. So, let's see. Misdreavus is more bulky on the special side than the physical side, so weakening it with special moves is not a bad idea. Gotta be careful of confusion here. I really don't want to get a critical hit on Misdreavus, but okay, that was okay. Even a critical hit wouldn't have won it KO'd it. Now, Shadow Ball is physical in this generation, so this hitting Espeon would hurt quite a bit, and it one-shotted. Ouch. I was not expecting that. Misdreavus' physical attack is terrible, so that's not good. And its physical defense is pretty bad too, so I don't want to attack it with Shadow Rush too much. But I may have to, because it's pretty much the only option I have that's not super effective. If I use Bite, then it is going to be super effective, and my other moves are normal type, so they have no effect at all. And Makuhita has now been attracted to that pathetic cat of ultimate fail. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, I don't like Skitty and Delcatty very much at all. Delcatty is probably, in my opinion, one of the single worst fully evolved Pokemon in existence. And it got even worse once it got its hidden ability. Or was that just its second added ability in the later generations? I forget, but I hate Delcatty. Thankfully, it's not a Shadow Pokemon in this generation. What is a Shadow Pokemon, though, is this Misdreavus. Let's see if I can catch it. 1, 2, no! And these help me sync up the audio to the video, so I might as well keep doing the counting. Yay, now I can't switch to Croconaw, like I was going to do that anyway. I don't want to attack that cute cat! Wait a minute! Must kill, destroy, destroy! And now it's tickling Makuhita. Yeah. Tickle's actually not a bad move. I still find it amusing that the early Pokemon anime actually predicted that by saying, now use the tickle attack, and it actually became a move later on. Yeah, let's get Makuhita out of Hyper Mode, although I might catch this Misdreavus first. Let's see. Don't want to be using up too many of my Great Balls. 1. Okay, that's not good. I might either need to weaken it more or use a Great Ball. Let's see what I end up doing. Okay, we've crossed the second threshold of the heart gauge now. Fortunately, Umbreon is resistant to this. Makuhita is... Holy moly! With it doing this much damage, you could have sworn that Shadow Ball was special in this generation, but it's really not. I'm not lying about that. That is, I did not expect this Misdreavus to hit so hard with Shadow Ball. That's kind of weird. And now Croconaw immediately gets tickled coming in. And this guy still has one more Pokemon left. This fight has actually been kind of annoying. Do I cave and use a... No, I don't. Past me, I'd recommend weakening that Misdreavus a little bit more. I think I'm just paranoid about... Okay, now I'm finally wising up and using Shadow Rush. But I think I was paranoid about doing too much damage to it. Okay, 1. No! But I'm weakening it this turn, at least. Oh, no, Confuse Ray. If that hits Croconaw, maybe I'm not weakening it this turn. Oh, great. I have a 50% chance of weakening it this turn. Let's see. I'm betting Croconaw's going to hurt itself in Confusion. Of course it did. Of course. This Misdreavus has given me a lot of trouble, which actually is going to be a running sign for this playthrough. Meanwhile, the Skitty still is completely non-threatening and tries to just tickle us all the time. Do I cave and... Yeah, I caved and used the Great Ball. I had a feeling that I would. Yeah, this Misdreavus has just been too much of a pain. It needs to go now. And by go, it needs to join my party. So, Great Ball, go! One, 2, 3... Misdreavus, get! Finally! And now you have a Zigzagoon. So let's just quickly clean this up, and then I'm gonna have to heal, because this fight went way worse than I expected it to. Did not expect the Misdreavus to be what I would have trouble with this time. It's actually one of the least powerful Shadow Pokemon to me. Well, I can now just show something kind of silly, and use this guy's own Misdreavus against him if I wanted to, but I don't think I will. But yes, you can actually use Shadow Pokemon in the same fight you snag them in if you have a free space in your party. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to troll this guy. Misdreavus was a pain for me to deal with. I'm going to make it a pain for its own user to deal with. See? This is your own Pokemon. Now, I couldn't use Shadow Ball anyway, so I wouldn't really need to worry about the normal type immunity here. But he needs to worry about my Ghost type immunities now. Nope! How does it feel? How does it feel to be defeated by your own Pokemon? And Hyper Mode. This is going to be a running theme for this, well, for early in this playthrough. This Misdreavus is a complete troll, and absolutely loved to just torment the heck out of me anytime I tried to use it. I love the overly dramatic way Zigzagoon uses Tickle. It's just like, I dramatically roar, and somehow that tickles you. Okay, I'm going to have to call Misdreavus out of that. Actually, I won't. I'm just going to Shadow Rush. Again, how does it feel to be beaten by your own Pokemon? Well, technically it wasn't your own Pokemon. It was something that the thugs gave you, and yeah, this is the point where you start to get into a bit of morally ambiguous territory, because these trainers were just given these Shadow Pokemon randomly. They're not really evil, they just didn't know any better, but I'm stealing the Shadow Pokemon for its own good. So with that, oh, that was a pain. No, it wasn't easy for me. And he's giving us a tutorial on Hyper Mode. Yeah, there's something going on behind the scenes here. Now, I forget when I next show Misdreavus' status screen. Do I cave and heal here just to avoid going all the way to Phoenix City? See, personally, I would recommend going all the way to Phoenix City and healing because that's free, but 100 Pokédollars is nothing. Staying the night in a Pyrite Town hotel is probably very bad, but it doesn't affect us in the gameplay sense. And no, I don't want to stay there again. I did not want to press A. So let's go ahead and hopefully check out Misdreavus. No, I'm not going to be checking out Misdreavus. So, Muck-Eater's nature has now been revealed, thanks to its heart gauge progressing a little bit, and it's progressed quite a lot. I'm over halfway there. Haven't unlocked any new moves yet. Croconaw is still at question mark nature. And there's Misdreavus. Okay, I'll show the bio now. Hey look, it's a member of the mediocre Generation 2 Pokemon that got much needed evolutions in Gen 4 Club. But sadly, this isn't Gen 4. Misdreavus is meant to more specialize in the special stats and speed at the cost of the physical ones, but even its best stats aren't amazing, putting it more on the level of a mid-stage evolution. It also really doesn't appreciate Ghost being physical. As a Ghost type, Misdreavus does have immunities to normal and fighting, and has another one to ground thanks to its levitate ability. That is really one of the main things it has going for it, as Misdreavus is in fact the only Ghost type in this game. As far as moves go, Confuse Ray serves the same role it does for Umbreon. Mean Look, as AI trainers rarely ever switch, is only really useful for one thing that I'll get to later. And Shadow Ball is, again, physical, but it does hit hard against things weak to it due to them tending to have bad defense. It gets Psybeam on Purification, but you want to replace this with the TM Psychic. Also Thunderbolt. TMs are going to be your main source of moves that actually make use of Misdreavus' better attacking stat. But Misdreavus learns a couple of unique support options by level up. The first is Pain Split, which averages the HP of you and the target. If used right, it can be an interesting pseudo-healing move that also cripples the opponent. Meanwhile, Perish Song puts a Doom counter on all Pokemon in the field, causing them to faint after 3 turns if they're not switched out. The AI is usually smart enough to switch Pokemon affected by this. I'm not sure if they are in Colosseum or not, but in any case, you can use Mean Look to block this outright and get a few easy KOs this way. Overall, Misdreavus has some decent options, but is let down by its lackluster stats. From here on, I think I'll be showing Shadow Pokemon bios right after I snag them, because I don't think I end up using the status screens very much from here on. So, fully healed, it's time to move on to our next victim, opponent. And I'm still just, for some reason I was fascinated with her dialogue. Even though there were no Roughneck trainer classes in this game. So, let's battle. It's yet another Rider. Rider Nova this time. What do you got? You have Noctowl and Ladybar. Well, both of them are Johto Pokemon, so either of these could be the Shadow. Which one is it? I guess you'll find out. Though you can probably guess given the levels. The Shadow is... it's the Noctowl! So Noctowl is very specially bulky. I'm going to want to target it with special moves to weaken it. And I'm going to want to target the Ladybug with anything to weaken it because Ladybug is pathetic. Ladybug is a Pokemon that I really wish there was so out of all the Pokemon that I was hoping would get Alolan forms, I was really hoping for Alolan Ladybug and Ladian, just because they desperately needed some kind of boost. It could have helped them be actually decent. And a Hyper Mode again. Yeah, it just loves to troll you like this. Obviously not going to want to use Hyper Mode on the Noctowl because I can't risk a critical hit. For now, though, I'm just going to abuse Hyper Mode and try and knock out that Ladybug. Do a little bit more damage to Noctowl. I love how it just goes all crazily flying all over the place. Okay, that's good that missed. And Safeguard's not going to do anything because I don't have access to any status moves at this point. Well, I mean, I suppose if Secret Power gets a status effect. That, I don't believe, was a critical hit, so that goes to show that Shadow Rush is not always a critical while you're in Hyper Mode. Some people think that it is, but it actually isn't. It's a very, very high chance, though. Like I said, I think it's something along the lines of 80 to 90%. Let's continue weakening Noctowl. I don't want to make the same mistake that I did last time and leave Misdreavus on very, very high health and constantly try and catch it. Now, one more confusion may do it. I'm getting very lucky with Hypnosis misses here. Let's hope that doesn't become a running theme when that Noctowl is mine. Ah, ow. Even with Gus being physical this gen, I think Wingull's better attack stat as its special one, although I'm not sure. Okay, that was definitely a critical hit. But yeah, that still hits pretty hard. Wingull down! I love Wingull's fading animation. Okay, I think now I'm going to start throwing balls, because at this point, if I were to use Confusion, a critical hit would KO the Noctowl, and that's what I definitely don't want. I probably should have saved after snagging Misdreavus now I think about it. But anyway, Noctowl, let's see if we can get it. 1. Nope. Okay. Noctowl is an early game Pokemon from Gold and Silver, so it probably has a decently high catch rate. I don't really know the catch rate off the top of my head. But I've got through another part of the heart gauge, and Hypnosis finally worked. Oh, I love how Bucketheater's eyes look when it's asleep. They just flip upside down. That's pretty silly. But anyway, sleep is not much of a threat in this game, at least it's not to me, because I can just call my Pokemon out of it. To the opponents, it's a bit more of a threat. They have no access to the call command. So let's just show calling out of sleep. Well, assuming this ball doesn't catch, that is, because if it does, I won't even have a chance to show that. So, let's go Noctowl. 1, 2, 3... Noctowl gets. In most games, Noctowl is that early game bird Pokemon that doesn't end up very good. In Colosseum though, Noctowl is actually very, very useful. As you know, Colosseum is a game heavily focused around catching Pokemon, and for that, status moves are very helpful. Noctowl is one of the earliest status users you get in the game. And it has a decent amount of bulk too, having a pretty good base 100 HP and a fairly nice special defense stat. Its physical defense is not the greatest, but its HP goes a little way to making up for that. Insomnia is preferred out of the two abilities, but really neither of them are going to end up that useful. What is useful though? Hypnosis, which is thankfully the first move Noctowl regains. This thing is an amazing tool for catching Shadow Pokemon. It unfortunately suffers from 60% accuracy, but Noctowl is reasonably bulky enough to afford missing with it. It also gets Reflect, which increases its support roll even more. Its fourth move, Fly, is less useful for the actual damage, and more as kind of a pseudo-protect for one turn. On Purification it gets Steel Wing, which isn't really all that good with its base 50 attack stat, and Steel not being a very good attacking type in Gen 3. Noctowl doesn't have much in the way of other options, both from leveling up and from TMs, with Psychic being really your only option to make use of its better attacking stat. But really, Noctowl is not an attacker, it's a supporter, and it's actually not a bad one in this game. Almost everyone who plays Colosseum will find themselves using Noctowl early on, and it even holds its own later in the game. And with that, we have defeated this trainer. That went much more smoothly than the last rider. Yes, I am saying it. You also lost your Pokemon as well, so, I'm sorry about that, but it kinda wasn't really yours to use to begin with. You're kinda lying there. Only Shadow Rush has a higher critical hit ratio. I think here I have to use an Awakening because Makuhita is asleep. Okay, now, if I was present me, I'd probably swap Makuhita out of my party, well, not out of my party, but out of the main 2 slots now. But I don't know if I ended up doing that. I kinda wanted to just purify Makuhita ASAP. So, let's fight this trainer. Let's feast our eyes on, that sounds creepy, let's not do that, Street Performer Diogo. She has a Flaffy and a Shroomish. This time it's a bit more obvious which is the Shadow Pokemon. Actually, wait, we've seen Ho in Shadow Pokemon before. It could be the Shroomish, but it probably isn't, as you'll see. Once again, we have a Shadow, and it's the Flaffy. So Flaffy is... I actually completely forget which defense of Flaffy's is better. I think it's its special defense? I know Ampharos is very slow and has a lot of special attack, but that's really the main thing that it has. Okay, Noctowl is already a bit hurt, but I want to purify Noctowl as fast as possible, or at least purify it to the point where it has access to Hypnosis. Or I could send out Misdreavus. Don't know why I did that. Shroomish is a Pokemon that I keep forgetting whether it's pure grass or grass poison. That obviously showed me that it's pure grass. Okay, that's actually why I didn't use Noctowl, I just realized, because Thundershock. It's always annoying that opposing Shadow Pokemon have access to all their moves, whereas you need to raise the heart gauge to unlock more moves. That Shroomish must have barely drained any health. Misdreavus is currently in Hyper Mode, but that's actually not bad because I only have access to Shadow Rush, and I'm calling Misdreavus anyway. Now, different Pokemon purify at different rates. This is actually affected by their nature. Depending on their nature, different Pokemon like different things. Some of them like being sent out into battle, some of them like just hanging around in your party while you're walking, some of them like being called, some of them like having certain items used on them. So that's interesting. Unfortunately, you can't see a Pokemon's nature until they are purified to at least, I believe, the third part of their heart gauge, so you'll just have to guess at first. Okay, let's start weakening this Flaffy. That did a bit more damage than I thought it would. Aha! I get to show off something! Now, in later generations, that wouldn't work because Electro types were made immune to paralysis. Also, Misdreavus is trolling me again. But in this generation, Electro types are not immune, so Espeon gets paralyzed, you're paralyzed too thanks to Synchronize, regardless of what type you are. That's going to be great because paralysis heavily increases the chances of catching Pokemon. So I can start throwing Pokeballs right now if I wanted to, and I'm going to do that right now, so let's go ahead and try and get this Flaffy. Let's see if we can dream of Electric Sheep. 1, 2, 3. Electric Sheep get. Flaffy is another good Pokemon to use, both as an offensive electric type and as a status user to help in catching. Thunder Wave, its first unlocked move, has more reliable accuracy than Sleep moves, and unlike Sleep, Paralysis will last forever unless the target has shed skin or something like that. The downside is Paralysis doesn't give as big of a catch rate modifier as Sleep does, but it's more consistent and reliable, so it's definitely an option. Flaffy also gets Cotton Spore to lower the target's speed, though Paralysis already does that, so really this move's only use is against ground types, and Thunder Shock. This is Flaffy's main weakness. It doesn't have a very good offensive move until it's purified, upon which Shadow Rush turns into Thunderbolt, which is much better. Other than that, Flaffy doesn't really have much in the way of decent moves. You could go for Light Screen for extra support if you want, I guess. Or you could teach it Thunder and pair it up with a Rain Dance using Water type. They tend to make a pretty good team. Stat-wise, Flaffy's final form has solid stats in just about everything except speed, and excellent special attack. Overall, a great option for an electric type, and a pretty good alternate status user. Wow, these snags are going way more smoothly than Misdreavus did. Let's see if any other Shadow Pokemon can join Misdreavus in the group of ones that gave me a hard time. I swear, this Misdreavus is just a complete troll, though. So yeah, we get a little bit of a tutorial here. Shadow Rush is effectively a typeless move, which means that it'll never get same type attack bonus. What am I doing here? I'm not entirely sure, actually. Past me? What are you doing? You know, I probably should switch either Noctowl or Croconaw in. I decided to go for Noctowl. Yeah, like I said, I want to purify this Noctowl pretty quickly because I want to unlock Hypnosis as soon as possible. That's going to make catching Shadow Pokemon much easier. So I went back to the hotel. And now we're fully refreshed. Something that I think I just remembered, at the time, I think Past Me planned to cut out my return trips to the hotel, so I'm going to follow suit here. Anyway, let's talk to this lady with a very weird looking hat. This one doesn't even give us a choice either. It's Ryder Leber. Or Lieber, however you want to say that. She has a Skiploom and an Oddish. This time, it's also pretty obvious which is the Shadow Pokemon. So we're going to have a new Grass type soon. Good for me since I didn't pick Bayleaf. And so it's the Skiploom, obviously. Unfortunately, Noctowl did not purify very much from being sent out into battle, so it must have a nature that doesn't like that very much. Alright, Skiploom is already Shadow Rushing. Noctowl is much bulkier on the special side than the physical side, but it does have quite a decent amount of HP. That did an alright amount of damage. Let's see what I'm using to weaken that Skiploom. Yeah, Secret Power, I guess. Skiploom is a very frail Pokemon in general, but I think its special defense is higher than its physical defense. Oh no, that's bad! So, that must be the effect of Secret Power in this town. Confusing. Which is not good for Shadow Pokemon, because I don't want them hurting themselves. So, I better catch that thing quickly. Also, I'm pretty sure Confusion does not add a modifier to the catch rate formula, so that's doubly bad. I think I'm going straight for the snag right now. Now, Skiploom is also an early game Pokemon, or at least the evolution of an early game Pokemon from Generation 2, so it should have a pretty high catch rate. Let's see. One, 2, 3, Skiploom gets. Skiploom is your other option for a sleep user next to Noctowl, and as a result, it will always be compared to said owl. So I'll give a quick rundown of Skiploom's pros and cons compared to Noctowl. Pros. Sleep Powder has higher accuracy than Hypnosis, 75% as opposed to 60%. Also, Skiploom and its evolved form Jumpluff especially are much faster than Noctowl. In fact, they're some of the fastest Pokemon in this game. Not only that, but they also have the Chlorophyll ability, which doubles their raw speed stat in sunlight. Meaning that as long as the sun is out, nothing short of priority will be outspeeding it. These alone make Skiploom and Jumpluff great Pokemon to use in this game, but they do have a few notable downsides. The main one being that they're not quite as bulky as Noctowl is. Jumpluff's defenses aren't terrible, but it does suffer from a pretty bad typing when it comes to weaknesses. Having a lot of problematic types, but especially a very nasty quadruple weakness to Ice. And Ice-type moves are fairly common in the later stages of this game. The other con is that Jumpluff is very, very weak offensively, and you know it's bad when Noctowl, of all things, is beating you in offense. On its starting moveset, Skiploom only has Mega Drain, which is a pretty pathetic 40 base power move, and the best attacking option that it has aside from Solar Beam is Giga Drain, which only has 60 power in this gen and only 5 PP. Not to mention its bad 55s in both offensive stats. So it really comes down to whether you want a fast sleep user that's more accurate but might be a little fragile, or a slower sleep user that's less accurate but might be sticking around longer. Skiploom is a great Pokemon to use though if you picked either Quilava or Bayleaf earlier, because you'll already have a Sunny Day user. Overall, I prefer it slightly to Noctowl, but it is a much riskier option. Dustox, that's an interesting Pokemon. I always found, in Gen 3, I kind of like Dustox. It's pretty much designed to be a Toxic Staller, and that's pretty much the only thing it can do decently, but I found that it wrecked Norman Slackings very well. Though, I think in Heart Gold... No, why am I saying Heart Gold and Soul Silver? In Oras, they changed its level up set to not learn Protect until after Slacking's level. Or after the level you should be to fight Norman Slackings. Something kind of cool that I'm just noticing there, if you look at the trainer's Pokemon there, you'll notice that rather than being grayed out as if the Pokemon is fainted, one of their Pokeballs is outright gone, because I've just simply taken the Pokemon from their team. Okay, I'm taunting the Dustox because it's probably going to use some annoying non-attacking moves, but it decided to use Poison Sting. This is going to poison me, isn't it? Okay, it didn't. But yeah, look at the Pokeball icons. The one that represented Skiploom is completely gone. I like the nice touch there. So, let's just take this Skiploom down. Why did I say Skiploom? This, Dustox. Yeah. I'm thinking too much about the Shadow Pokemon. So, goodbye, Dustox. So with that, we have one more Shadow Pokemon to our name. We're slowly working our way through the Jewel Square. Actually, that is 2 women in this town who have fallen in love with us. Though I'm pretty sure at this point Wes is already taken. But anyway, just swapping around my Pokemon for a bit here to fight the last trainer, so I don't need to heal. Well, this one's more polite. Bandana Guy Divil, which sounds a bit like drivel, which is often an insult that reviewers use. So will this guy's battle be pure drivel? Let's see. Psyduck and a Quagsire, or Quagglesphere as I used to call it when I was a kid. Gee, I wonder which is the Shadow Pokemon. Yep, it's the Quagglesphere. Now, okay, I'm just going to call it that until I've snagged it. Quagglesphere is a very bulky Pokemon in terms of HP. Its defenses aren't that great, though. And let's call Misdreavus again. You troll. You complete troll. Please stop trolling me. I'd appreciate if you don't troll me in this fight. Who am I targeting here? Okay, the Quagglesphere. Yeah, a lot of HP. This Psyduck is unlikely to be much of a threat to us. I still don't know why Psyduck and Golduck are not Water Psychic, though. Their move pool is designed as if they were. But yeah, here we see a downside of Espeon. It's very fragile, especially to the physical Shadow Rush, and I'm going to set up Reflect again. Okay, will Misdreavus troll me again this time? Let's see. Let's see, come on, Misdreavus. Of course you would! Misdreavus! So this kind of became a running thing. Misdreavus was kind of the sitcom arch nemesis of the early point of this playthrough. Yes, it is a she. She just trolled me. There was no end to her trolling. It's kind of funny, like, this was recorded long before I knew about the other famous, well, don't want to prematurely call my Colosseum playthrough famous. But anyway, a certain famous Colosseum playthrough. Whoa, that was close. That was way too close. Holy, okay, if you had used Shadow Rush, I would have been done. I would have been completely and utterly done there. I would have had to have restarted, and I haven't saved since I caught any of these Shadow Pokemon, so I would have lost this entire run if I... I'm gonna risk it and go for a regular Pokeball. Please catch. This is better catch, otherwise I'm completely done. But yeah, the popularity of Misdreavus in a certain playthrough, and I demonstrate there that you can only use one Snag Ball per turn, I wouldn't have known at the time, so it's really hilarious how Misdreavus in my playthrough turned out to be the exact opposite. A Pokemon that just failed me at every conceivable time. 1. Oh, that's really bad. That's really bad. Now, Misdreavus, why? Okay, at least Espeon didn't faint to that. Please don't use Shadow Rush, please don't use Shadow Rush, please don't use Shadow Rush. That was probably what I was saying in my actual live recording of this. Okay, yeah, I'm not risking it this time. Great Ball now. I am not pushing my luck. That's not going to happen 2 turns in a row. I mean, it did happen 2 turns in a row. It's not going to happen 3 turns in a row. Definitely not 3 turns in a row. Wow, this was painfully close. 1, 2, 3... Quagglesphere, get! Oh. Quaggle, you know what, I'm gonna stop that. There's no way I'm taking this bio seriously if I don't use its real name. Quagsire is your option for a water type if you didn't pick Croconaw earlier. And, well, it turns out that Quagsire's stats are a lot worse than I thought they were. But it's one of those Pokemon that makes up for a lack of raw stats with an interesting typing, abilities, and decent move pool. Being a water ground type, Quagsire's only weakness is grass. It, however, is so badly weak to grass that it will usually faint in one hit to it, but strong grass type moves are fairly rare in this game. Of its abilities, Water Absorb is the preferred one by far, as there really aren't enough enemies in this game who use Explosion to justify having Damp. For its starting moves, Quagsire can use Amnesia to double its special defense and make itself a pretty good tank, Slam, which is meh and should probably be replaced quickly, and Surf, which doesn't work off a particularly good special attack stat. Yeah, Quagsire is even worse at using Surf than Croconaw is, and that's really saying something. But it is the same type attack bonus spread move, which is always useful. Quagsire learns some pretty decent moves by level up too. It gets Yawn, which is a sleep move that doesn't take effect right away, but it does have perfect accuracy, so it is a bit of an alternative to both Knockdown and Skip Loop. Quagsire is also one of the very few Pokemon as of Gen 3 to learn Earthquake by level up, meaning you don't need to waste the valuable TM on it. This is huge with this game's one-use TMs. Earthquake is same type attack bonus and works off Quagsire's better attacking stats. Unfortunately, it hits your partner, so you're going to either want to pair yourself up with a flying type or have a Pokemon with Protect. And like most water types, Quagsire learns Ice Beam via TM. It is working off a pretty bad special attack stat, but it is 4 times super effective against a lot of Pokemon, which goes some way to making up for it. It can also learn Brick Break to make use of its attack stat. Overall, Quagsire is a decent bulky water that makes up for mediocre stats with a pretty good ability and move pool. And awkwardly, the Psyduck awkwardly transitions to the middle of the field. That's pretty funny, but yeah. Oh, that was really nerve-wracking. Even doing post-commentary on this, that was nerve-wracking. Wow, that was close. I dread to think how much HP that Quagglesphere had. And I won't ever know, because it's gone to the PC, which means it's now fully healed. But it was probably 1. It was probably 1. Yeah, I'm not going to risk Espeon here. Let's send out Croconaw and get a little bit of the heart gauge increased. Oh hey, Misdreavus not going into Hyper Mode, that's new. This guy only has 2 Pokemon, it seems, since he didn't send anything else out to replace the Quagglesphere. Okay, I should... Okay, Reflector's gone. Now let's quickly finish off this fight. Well, now it's back to... I think past me slammed his head against the wall when that happens. Oh, this is... yeah. Misdreavus! Yeah, I'm not going to blame Crocodile for that. I blame Misdreavus. I blame Misdreavus for that entirely. Misdreavus, you're a bad influence on my other Shadow Pokemon. This battle took longer than it should have, thanks to that happening. Now can we finish this fight? I would appreciate that. Shadow Rush on the Psyduck. Okay, Misdreavus didn't troll me that time. But what, is that 2 non-hyper modes this entire battle out of Misdreavus' whole time being on the field? Wow, Misdreavus is a giant troll. But we have defeated the bandana guy. I mean, I guess in some ways that battle was pure drivel, but mostly for me. Oh, that was close. That was way too close. Way, way too close. So with that, I think I need to go back and heal now. And very soon, I will be ending this part. There's actually one more Shadow Pokemon to snag in the square, but I'd rather do that in the next one, because this one, thanks to all those bios, has probably gone on for a very long time by now. So, after I heal here, I'll see you again next time when we take on one more Shadow Pokemon and see just what the heck is going on with this town and the Colosseum. So, I'll probably see you then. Let's see if past me decides to do anything else. And I also accidentally mashed the A button and got into this dialogue again. But yeah, do I decide to save? Do I check the PC? I think I end up checking the PC. That's the wrong building. The police building is the one that looks like an army base. So let's check out the PC. Yeah, I think I ended up checking out my Shadow Pokemon here. So I have Flaffy, I have Skiploom, and I have Quacklesphere. I'll stop doing that after this part, but it's fun to call it Quacklesphere. So, we have Skiploom. Don't think any of these can have... Okay, Water Absorb is good. Damp is far less useful here. But I'm going to take the Skiploom. This is a good Pokemon to work on Purifying immediately because it also has a status move. So, Misdreavus, you are the first to go. Goodbye, Misdreavus. You rot in the PC after what you did. Ugh! I'm still going to have to purify you. But anyway, I don't like you. I really don't like you at this point. So, with that, I will see you all next time, where hopefully Misdreavus won't troll me. Because she's safe in the PC where she belongs.